So guys, not as much news as yesterday. I apologise for blowing up your sub feed. I couldn't make a decision about what not to scrap, and it was all kind of important. So if you missed any of the videos from yesterday, there's about 7 of them. Welcome to the party. But yeah, you obviously feel free to go back under that. Let's jump into today's news. 72% of Americans believe establishment media deliberately reports fake news. Only 72%. That's all I've got to say about that, but let's jump into it. More than 2/3 of Americans, a full 72%, believe traditional news outlets knowingly report false or misleading stories, according to Axios SurveyMonkey poll. Only 25% of Americans believe media rarely or never deliberately reports fake news. In other words, only 1/4 of the country believes the media are not guilty of intentionally spreading lies to mislead the American people. The partisan breakdown is even more revealing. A full 92% of Republicans believe the media intentionally misleads the public. Independents are not far behind with 79%, and a majority of Democrats, 52%, agree, with only 46% disagreeing. And as to prove the poll's point, the Axios report is in its own bombshell poll is widely misleading. No far-minded journalist can look at these numbers and not be blown away by the fact that the established media have lost the trust of America, and breathtaking 72% now believe, and for good reason, fake news is reported deliberately. Okay, so 72%. Nevertheless, as a means to bury this bombshell of bad news, the left-wing media Axios focuses instead on the Republican numbers of 92%, as if to say that this is a partisan problem, when there is no question the media have a massive and well-described credibility problem across the board. The misleading Axios headline reads, 92% of Republicans think media intentionally reports fake news, which is a deliberate attempt to keep the focus off the 72%. A top portion of the Axios wrote a focus only for the Republican numbers and summarized it this way. The data shows that the trust in the media is heavily influenced by partisan politics, with the Republicans more skeptical of mainstream media than their Democrat and independent counterparts. Talk about misleading spin. Republicans may be the most skeptical, but we're only talking a 92 out of 72% spread between the Republicans and the entire country. Of those who believe fake news is deliberate, a whopping 65% say this is because people have an agenda. Only 30% blame the establishment media's fake news spree on laziness or poor fact-checking. Naturally, the far-left Axios attempts to blame President Trump for exacerbating the skepticism among the heading hardline conservatives with polarizing language and tweets about the mainstream media being fake news. Hardline conservatives? Does that mean that 72% of America is made up of hardline conservatives? Nowhere does Axios mention the countless lies the media have been caught reporting over the last few years. And I was actually talking to someone earlier today, and I was able to rattle off about 5 of them within like 2 minutes. You got, for example, Trump the koi fish. You got them going on about the Steele dossier. That was in itself a lot of fake news. You go on about them, for example, saying that Americans will not benefit under the tax plan. But then even the Hill.com has reported that Americans will benefit to some extent under the tax plan. You got them going on about Trump crashing the economy when he was elected. He was going to crash the economy. Never happened. In fact, the economy's never been better before. Yeah, and don't forget the whole, if you read the WikiLeaks, it's illegal. Like, the amount of fake news that's come out over the past few years, decade, whatever, it's enough to write a book. And in fact, I think Mark Dice has actually written a book about it. But let's keep going. You see, according to Politico, washouts who created Axios, the media only have a perception problem, not a credibility problem. Talk about fake news. Okay, so what's the takeaway on this? Well, like they say, it's interesting the fact that when this poll actually was done, they went through and talked about the fact that it was a Republican thing. They didn't mention the overall poll numbers in itself was fake news. Obviously, they want to divert attention away from the majority of people believing that mainstream media is fake news, and they want to focus on the Republican side. It's all spin and itself is fake news. Am I surprised by this? No, I'm not. To be honest, established media has been losing credibility for years now. And yeah, obviously, look, Trump doesn't help the situation for him. But should he really? When they sit there and they deliberately lie, they deliberately attack him, is anybody surprised he doesn't attack them back? And I'm sorry, I don't feel sorry for him. You attack Trump. Over 90% of news coverage has been against Trump. You know, talk about partisan politics. So, yeah, I'm sorry. You've made your bed, now you have to lay in it. And at the end of the day, if you don't put out fake news, then we can't call you fake news. So, you know, whose fault's really that? But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you believe that mainstream media is fake news? Do you believe that they deserve the attacks that President Donald Trump gives them? Do you think he should lay off mainstream media? Or do you kind of like what he does? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If this video has been helpful, please smack a like. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.